Hey there, welcome to C and T Collectibles. It would be so easy for me just to start that over, right? But I don't really even feel like it. We're just gonna go with it. Nothing but truth here. So welcome to C and T Collectibles. I am C. Hope you're doing well. Today we're gonna look at some football cards and players that did well in the wild weekend of football that just passed. Tommy and I were gonna put this together, but we ended up playing MLB The Show last night, and it got a little bit late. And since I already put this together, it's like, we're just going to go for it and see what we see here. But yeah, so it was a wild weekend of football. And let's see if the cards have equally wild reactions here. So I picked out a few players off of the good old ladder. And let's see what we see here. Patrick Mahomes, 2017 Donruss in a Raw. Dude's going back to the championship game. Can he make it 3 Super Bowls in a row? We shall find out. So downtrend has been broken, but it could not sustain itself. When you have these fake breaks, it typically brings you to the bottom of the range. That would be a big move here. So you've got this upward trend here, and if it breaks that, then perhaps, I'm not calling for that or anything like that. When it gets down to this level, it gets picked up very, very quickly. Something really bad would have to happen, but in the off season, maybe it gets rocked. We shall see. So this is your risk reward. But again, piercing that breakout here, in kind of an uptrend from that lower boundary there. The Mahomes cards, they still look all right. And I picked out the Raw because it's more affordable than a lot of the other ones. If you are looking for a Mahomes, and maybe this is the way to go. But that $200 level was support for a long time. It was resistance, and it broke above that. So maybe it just kind of hangs around that level for the time being. Again, I don't know. It's just risks, probabilities, and all that kind of stuff here. So. Again, breaking this trend would be bad, but we haven't yet, and so it's that general trend does remain up for the time being. The PSA 10, kind of the same thing, breaking its downtrend and holding a little bit here. The momentum is still positive, so we had a sale come in around $1,200, and the buy came in around $1,000 or something like that. So still on a buy signal here, and we'll see if it can grind its way a little bit higher. So whenever you have these false breaks before, again, those lead to quick moves in the opposite direction. But with enough buying in here, a couple more sales, not going to be a false break just yet. Again, $900 is where there's a lot of buying. That may be your downside. If you're patient, we'll see how that plays out. But again, the trend on that one does remain up for the time being. Let's look at his Prism Silver. Again, this is the Raw. And it looks like we have a one-off here. So I don't know if there's a condition issue or a timing issue or what happened with this sale. If you're able to get that price, that's about as good a price as you've had in recent memory. So if that is indeed the price now, something probably closer to $600-700 or something like that, maybe more realistic. But if you're able to get the silver in a Raw around $500, that has been a very good time to enter in the recent past here. And the PSA 10 in the Prism Silver, consolidating, compressing, doing its thing. One day we'll know whether it's going to break out or break down. So for now, that's just kind of the price, and expect some more sideways movement most likely in the near future. And again, down bad, up good. All right, who do we have next here? Ooh, Travis Kelce, PSA 9. So liked him in this area here, and it seems cheap for a Hall of Fame type player here. This is the top's chrome, so the PSA 9 continues to grind its way higher here. So again, has a pretty solid breakout, and it's traveling in an upward trajectory until it is not. And so we sure like him. Why not? And that seems like a pretty decent price here. And I think that card, it's a little bit harder to find at least. So I don't know. We'll see here. So resistance comes in about $70-80, and you're kind of getting close to that. That's that area here. So good performance the next couple of weeks could bust out, and you could start to see some chasing up in here, and that's when you'd really want to take some off the table most likely, because this gets a little thin and hammered back down to reality fairly quickly here. But the trend is up for the time being. Tyreek Hill, PSA 10 in the Prism Silver, top of the range, getting rejected, and now you're in an area where buying has happened in the past, and so it's getting a little thin here. But if you do have an opportunity for this card, your risk reward does set up favorably. Josh Allen, liked him at the bottom of the range. There you go. So he's doing what you need to do. He's nine touchdowns in the or no, that's Burrow. Never mind. I like the stat. We'll get to Burrow, I guess. So I'll save it. I'll save the cool stat for Burrow. But no, Josh Allen performing well in the playoffs here. Yeah, we'll see how it goes here. But with his team exiting in a really crazy game, real excellent performance, he's now I don't want to say irrelevant, but his offseason has begun. So we'll see. Maybe you still see some chasing to the top of the range here. I don't know. This is a pretty decent buying cluster here around. Is at $800, and so minimal upside, I think, for the near term. And again, he's football irrelevant at the time being, but he sure looked good. And I think if people are looking down the road a bit, they may be maybe interested in that one. Same thing with the Prismraw. So a lot of consolidation here. $60 your downside, $230 is your upside, and so you're getting into an area here where a lot of transactions. When you get above this area, you can see how thinly the volume is, and so when you do see these spikes up, they're quickly met with selling. So don't chase it. This is probably a fair price, but you can probably get it lower now that he's going to be watching from the not even from the sidelines, from his home TV. So Josh Allen Donruss PSA 10, and getting to the top of the range as well. So it's been a really nice run here. But I think his cards may be in for a bit of a pause with minimal upside left. Tom Brady, Bowman Chrome PSA 10. So giant consolidation, really. 24,000 upside, 16,000 on the downside. So you're downtrend, uptrend, downtrend. Now you're breaking out again here. So if the Buccaneers, I don't know. I mean, they're done, and the Rams are going on here, but it's Tom Brady. So we'll see what happens if he's coming back for a year, retire. Maybe there's some news in there that is the catalyst. But again, like when this broke its uptrend, we're like, all right, there's enough buying and interest in this card. Just expect a kind of a slow grind. Same thing here. Okay, if it is going to continue to go up, it's going to be a slow grind. I don't see what's going to spike this price around or anything in the near future. So your risk reward's smack dab in the middle of the range here for the most part. So it's one you just want to probably sit and watch for the time being. Most likely the PSA 9, kind of the same thing here, breaking its downtrend, but you're sitting in kind of the top of the range part here. So again, lots of interest, lots of buying. So good volume, and should offer some decent support for the card. But, again, up or down is probably just going to be a slow grind. And if you're looking for movement, there's probably better cards to look at. Gronk, all right, is reaching cutting pose. What is it? The running cutting pose. That's what they call that here. So, again, sideways action, and kind of in the middle of the range. So if you get a shot down 300 or something like that, then lot more interesting. You get up to around $600-700 or something, then it's a lot less interesting. But there's three purchases in short order here, so there's some interest around the card. But you're right in the middle of the range, and it's one that's worth watching. Again, out of the playoffs, gone but not forgotten type deal or whatever. So I think there's a better entry point for that particular card. Matt Stafford, he's going to keep playing and getting up to the top of the range here. So he may spike up. Who knows here? There's a lot of buying in this area. There's a lot of people that if they sold in here or they bought in here, they're like, oh, I got my money back, and they're willing to sell. Or if they sold here, it's like, oh, I want to get back in this card. It's had a pretty nice run, and so this is the raw version, the refractor. Again, I want to keep the prices realistic for most people here. So right now it doesn't set up awesome, but if it breaks out, then you can see some chasing to the upside here. So we'll see how that goes, but right now, I mean, he's still relevant, so there could be some further movement in this card here. So if this is your trend, I mean, you're kind of near the bottom of it here, and your risk reward sets up fairly nicely if that's something you want to take a shot at. Cooper Kupp, Prism Silver, PSA 10, top of the range here, starting to consolidate and come down. I don't know what more does he have to do to get his cards ripping here. So we liked him in here at the beginning of the season. It's worked out pretty well, but now you're kind of getting a little bit. Seems like a little bit toppy here, and I think any further movement is going to be very, very thin, and you'll run out of buyers perhaps. But he's deserved this run. He's done everything he can for this run. There's no question about it. But the price action seems to be stalling out just a little bit here. So sorry, still a little froggy throat here. Cooper Kupp PSA 9, so the cheaper version here, still traveling in an uptrend as well. So these prices are compressing. When this uptrend does break, it usually favors a break to the downside, so you manage that appropriately, but you're still traveling lower left to upper right, which is a good sign. Deebo Samuel, I'm sure liked this card during the season here, the PSA 10, it's like, all right, here's a pretty solid player, worth a shot here, and he's just been ripping. So top of the range here. The Niners, I mean, they're playing one more here, so at least so he could continue to be relevant. And what did he do? Lead the league in like total yards or something like that? Something crazy. Awesome player here. So anything you get back to about $100, I mean, that's probably worth a shot here. So right now, I don't know if I would do anything, but get back closer to $100. Sure, that seems pretty darn interesting. So Aaron Donald, why didn't we put him with the rest of the Rams? Because he never with the Rams. He's always in the other team's backfield. So top of the range here, coming off just a little bit. So Hall of Famer, but he'll what a terrific player, coming off a little bit. Defense kind of forgotten about, but sure looks like for now maybe not the most interesting spot, but pullback should be kind of shallow on this one if at all. It seems like it's picked up pretty quickly, closer to that $125 area or something like that. But hard to be on the radar. Aaron. I don't think people are too happy with him. Sentiment plays a big deal when you're dealing with investing in emotions. There's always sentiment. That's a good indicator. If people are pretty sour on Aaron Rodgers for whatever reason during the season, they give people on both sides. But then his playoff performance sure didn't help things. So we had him looking a little toppy at the top of the range here, and now a big spike down. So he's providing a little bit better entry point here, and may continue to do that. So we'll have to watch here. But now you get into an area where all right, it's probably a little bit more reasonable. I didn't like him up here. Now it's starting to get a little bit more reasonable. If this was a stock, then you would buy you wanted 10,000. You put $10,000 into something. This is where you would start. You'd put in like 2,500 or 3,000 or 5,000 or whatever, and buy on the way down or something like that. With Aaron, you're probably just buying one, so it's a little more difficult to manage, I suppose. But if you're buying a bunch of these and you buy one now and you load the boat when it gets to the bottom of the range. All that goes here. The top's chrome in the PSA 9. Also kind of fake breaking out here. You looked at this one and said, this is where this card starts to get a little bit choppy. Volume starts to thin out. This is where selling kind of takes place here. Now you're back into the range, and your risk reward is unfavorable, and you could have a very nice entry spot closer to $700 perhaps, sometime during the off season. Not guaranteeing that's what happens, but when you get to the top of the range, you eventually make your way back down to the bottom. You have in the past, so we'll see if that happens once again. And Aaron Jones, PSA 10 Prism Silver, sitting at the bottom of his range. So I think you can get these for like $10 in a raw if you're up for it. So seems like risk reward sets up pretty favorably on that one, but the trend is down, so be prepared for some further possible lower prices. Joey B, there we go, PSA 10s, just a terrific run here, and they're going to keep playing. So he is still relevant. We liked kind of a shot in here, and it's been a monster rip. I bought the Firebird Mosaic Raw just to have a tiny piece of Joe Burrow, and I'll probably give it to the boys because they love football. So you're sitting up at resistance here. This was your former support, and now you're looking at more of a resistance area here. So whatever happens, I think maybe the market will be pricing in, be looking for a Bengals loss here. Then you could see a pullback on this one. So again, not anything I would do at the immediate time here, but it could pop up, and then this becomes your support level. So we'll see how that goes. But right now, it's like, all right, let's just wait and get through the weekend on this one here. So yeah, what was the stat? So Joe Burrow threw like I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was Josh Allen that threw 9 touchdowns. Joe Burrow threw 9 touchdowns. Nah, he's still playing here. So, all right. Joe Burrow. This is the PSA 10, the base donruss. Again, up into an area where this is kind of your previous top for the most part. And now you're starting to match that high as well. So the trend is up until it isn't, but you're getting into an area. It's going to start getting a little thin, perhaps, on that one. So, but not the most expensive card in the world here. Joe Mixon, running back for the Bengals here, getting to the top of the range as well. So a lot of these things, and they've had great runs, but they are starting to look a little bit toppy. Unless you're Ryan Tannehill, and then you're putting in new lows, and with his play, it's like probably fair, I guess. So Derrick Henry though, he's awesome, but it's been a giant consolidation, and you get closer to that $300 area. Then that's more of your buy point right here. So right now you're in the middle of the range. It's probably just a wait and see. And we'll wrap it up with C3PO for whatever reason. Just that's going to be my thing, all right? We're always going to finish with C3PO, I think. So PSA 8 continues to grind higher, $620. There you go. So, all right, that's what I got for you. Thanks for watching. You like this kind of junk. I mean, I'm not going to assume you find it helpful or anything like that, but, go ahead, like, subscribe, do all that kind of good stuff, and we will talk to you later. Bye.